and welcome to Culture on I-24 News. I'm Liz Grober. Thank you for joining me. Today on our show, we'll hear about producer Jason Blum and his method for making profitable small-budget horror films. French philosopher Michal Onfray visits Hebron. And the Museum of the History of the Polish Jews opens in Warsaw. Let's begin, though, with Avri Rosen-Tzvi, who's already here in the studio to tell us how some people are making the big bucks in Hollywood.
Some people are making the big bucks by being frugal. Like it's very like classic.
Yeah, they're making big bucks, but not spending such big bucks.
Well, we'll start with the movie Ouija, who's opened just in time for Halloween this weekend. It's a movie based on if you know the Ouija board.
Mm-hmm,
you know, it was like an old thing that was patented by another smart money-making person in the 19th century, and it now belongs to Hasbro. And as we know, today the name of the game is name recognition, so of course they made a movie about it.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, it was supposed to be a $100 million film, which then they decided not to greenlight it, and then Jason Blum took it. Yeah. Producer Jason Blum took it and made it into a $5 million movie. And this is the seventh.
That's kind of a high. That's actually a lot of money for one of his films.
No, $5 million is that's the ceiling. I mean, we're talking about a producer Jason Blum. This is his seventh micro-budgeted film to open in the first place in the U.S. box office, and actually his 10 biggest hits, including the Purge series, which is now getting to the third movie, Paranormal Activity, which has like five movies, and together made $1.25 billion.
Wow.
With an overall cost of $50 million.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Now, if we take Paranormal Activity for a second as an example, if I'm not mistaken, the budget was $15,000.
$3 million, the first one. No, you're right.
$15,000.
No, you're right. Yeah, $15,000.
And made over $200 million worldwide.
But this guy, he has a system. First of all, he doesn't work with a lot of name actors.
Yeah.
And everyone, the directors, the actors, and himself get paid zero or scale, the minimum that they have to, and they all work on the profit, which makes it like a little startup because everyone really wants to, go out and sell the film. Now, the films are set in Los Angeles, shot in 20 to 25 days. A lot of them with night footage or surveillance cameras, so they don't have to light it very much. Very, very cheap. I don't know what the marketing costs for these movies are.
Right.
But he tries to keep everything.
That's on the distributor.
That's on the distributor. Like The Purge, which was with relative stars with Ethan Hawke, that got a Universal distributor. But, a lot of the movies are just sent out there to make money.
And apparently he's doing it pretty good.
He's doing very well.
All right. Thanks, Avu. That was very interesting. Michal Onfray is a well-known and controversial French philosopher who recently paid a visit to Hebron, a city torn apart by the ongoing religious conflict between Jews and Arabs. Our journalist David Gombin accompanied Onfray and brought us his thoughts on the current situation.
Michal Onfray is a French contemporary philosopher. Rejected by most of the French academia, he's though very much listened by wide audiences. After leaving his job as a teacher in 2003, he founded his own People's University in Caen, Normandy. French media loves him and he's regularly invited to talk on TV. He's famous for being a hedonist and atheist, but also, as he defines himself, a libertarian anarchist. Recently, he declared that he's a pro-Palestinian Zionist. This week, this controversial figure visited a controversial place, the West Bank city of Hebron. This city could sum up the whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Considered as holy by the Muslims and by the Jews, this city counts 163,000 Arab inhabitants against 750 Jews, a minority who lives under strong military and police protection in an area forbidden to Palestinians. Philosopher Michal Onfray visited the city along a group of legal practitioners, guided by Dr. Anwar Abu Aisha, former Palestinian Minister of Culture and a professor of law at Al-Quds Jerusalem University.
I see what I see, and I don't see what I'm asked to see. So I tried to run my critical spirit, and I see that there are tensions. This is obvious.
This tour of Hebron goes against his vision of confederation.
I really think that Darwin explains a lot. Here we observe a logic of territory and ethnology. We are said that here it's Israeli, here it's Palestinian, here you can go through and here you can't. This is as if everyone wanted to draw its territory, but don't want to share this territory. It looks like a school playground.
We arrived to the site that for centuries has been the object of all tensions, the patriarch tomb. According to the tradition, here are buried Adam and Eve, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Leah, a holy site divided between Muslim and Jewish praying areas.
It saddens me. When you're coming from the West with Descartes' values, the rational, the French Revolution, etc., we just want people to stop everything and start talking. I have always opposed people against governors. This is not about Israel against Palestine. This is about Israeli and Palestinian people together against Israeli and Palestinian governments. Governments whose interest is to rise up tensions because there are weapons, there is money. Europe gave a lot of money to the Palestinian cause, but this money disappeared. It didn't serve the cause. It goes directly to bank accounts in Switzerland, such as Yasser Arafat's widow. We know all of those things.
Throughout history and under different rulers, Hebron has been a hotbed for religious tension. In a complex city like this, perhaps the smartest decision is to stand with the people on both sides, just like philosopher Michal Onfray.
The Museum of the History of the Polish Jews opens in Warsaw on October 28th after 9 years of work. The museum tells the story of the 1,000-year history of Jews in the country. A few months ago, while final preparations were underway, David Gombin and Pazit Dank went to Warsaw to visit the museum. Here's the story.
We are in the neighborhood of Murano, in the heart of central Warsaw, the Polish capital. This area was made famous due to tragic reasons. It was the site of the Jewish ghetto during World War II. The place was completely destroyed, and today only a war memorial remains, a sculpture by Nathan Rappaport erected in 1948. But from the ashes of the ghetto also rose this very modern building, a building that breaks away from the architecture of the Soviet era, the Museum of the History of Polish Jews. It is brand new and has a powerful symbolic value.
Our museum is a tribute to those Jews who perished during the Holocaust by showing how they lived.
The 4,000 square meters of exhibition space include 8 galleries. The exhibition has been designed as a narrative. The purpose is to tell the story of the lives of Jews in Poland from medieval times to the present, a history of Jewish life more than 1,000 years old. Among the treasures displayed, this replica of the Gwoździec synagogue, often called the Sistine Chapel of the Jewish world.
These wooden synagogues are among the most beautiful expressions of what I would call a Polish-Jewish symbiosis. We recovered the knowledge of how to build one by building it, using 300 volunteers and experts.
The design of the museum was the subject of an international competition. The winner was Finnish architect Rainer Mahlamaki, who wanted to create a strong symbolic place. The word Polin, which means Poland in Hebrew, is written across the whole exterior. This canopy is the largest in the country.
The light is one of the key features of the building, so it represents the ideas of transparency, transfluency, and being open to all kinds of people from all continents, all cultures, and also being open and ready to deal with all kinds of questions.
The total cost, about 40 million euros and 4 years of work.
Outside the building is quite simple, almost a straight box, not much higher than the buildings around. So again, we are focusing on our neighbors who are living here for many years, so we don't want to interrupt or change their lives too much.
And what about the neighbors? How did they perceive the new museum? To find out, we went out to ask them. It seems that the adjacent park was quickly adopted by the neighbors, who came to stroll and to enjoy the Polish summer.
The place is really original. The architecture fits to the area, and I love the inside. It looks like an open sea inside. It's an integrated portion of the neighborhood.
The changes are enormous. A few years ago, this place was very wild. The people were walking around, but it was not as organized as now. Thanks to the museum, they've renovated the space, they planted trees, and now it feels much safer.
For integration purposes, the museum does not just plant trees. It also forms a connection with its neighbors by inviting them to get involved in historical research.
The place is very alive now. They organize movie festivals to educate. There is also an exhibition dedicated to the neighborhood of the district Murano, where people who live here brought their own pictures, their private photos from 30 to 50 years ago, and added it to the collection here.
The grand opening of this permanent exhibition is scheduled for October the 28th. The museum has already succeeded in being adopted by its neighbors at Murano. The futuristic building of the Museum of History of the Jews in Warsaw will try to reconcile the past with the future.
In just a moment, we'll hear about Palestine's Oscar bid, but first our cultural recommendation for the day.
Latifa Ekach is a French-Moroccan sculptor and visual artist. Winner of the Marcel Duchamp Prize in 2013, her new exhibition, The Spirit of the Times, is created in partnership with the Pompidou Center and mounted at the Museum Space 315. The artist places the notion of space at the heart of her projects. Among dark clouds are hidden objects with very different messages. The exhibition as a whole lends itself to different interpretations. At first, the dark side of mental landscapes. On the other hand, lies another vision of the exhibition, clearer in the direct opposition of the first part, creating strong contrast and unfertile ground for interpretation. Latifa Ekach is represented by Gallery Kamel Mennour in Paris, and her international reputation allows her to visit and exhibit her work in galleries around the world: United States, Switzerland, Belgium, and Israel, among many others.
And now Ranin Boulos is here with us. Welcome, Ranin.
Ahlan, hello.
Ahlan sahlan. What are we talking about? Talking about movies that are actually going to the Oscars?
We're talking about maybe a movie, a Palestinian movie directed by Najwa Najjar, a Palestinian director. This movie might go to the Oscar. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. The movie talks about a Palestinian guy who was imprisoned in the Israeli jail for over 10 years, and then he was released to find out that his wife is dead and his daughter is missing, and he decides to start searching for his girl.
So now, it's not really a comedy.
No, not at all. It's not a comedy. It's a sad movie about the reality of Palestinians. Yeah. And Najwa Najjar is a Palestinian director. However, the actors in the movie, they're not Palestinians. The main actor, Khalid Abul Naja, he's an Egyptian actor. Okay. And he plays the main role in the movie of the guy that was imprisoned in the jail. And the second actress is Souad El-Massi. She's an Algerian singer and a songwriter, and it's actually her first time acting in a movie.
So why them? Why not Palestinian actors?
When Najwa, the director, was asked actually why they're not Palestinian actors in the movie, she gave an answer. Let's hear what she said.
All right.
I've been asked a couple of times, did you choose them because you want the film to be broadcast around the world? No, Palestinian actors act in various films in the Arab world. So why don't we bring in Arab actors? This is the first time in the Palestinian film industry that we have Arab actors in a Palestinian film. A superstar like Khalid Abu Najah and Souad El-Massi to act her first role ever in a Palestinian film, this is an honor.
Well, actually, what Najwa is saying that, like there are many movies that you have Palestinian actors in the movie. It's also nice to have a Palestinian movie with a Palestinian director, and the actors are Arab from all over the world. It's interesting also to have a Palestinian movie with actors from Egypt, from Algeria, from Iraq. It kind of
makes it more of a pan-Arab production, I think.
Yes, and dealing with all the Arab issue and rather than only the Palestinian-Israeli conflict.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wait for this movie, and we wish Najwa
best of luck. Of course.
Best of luck.
As far as its political message goes, is it a very clear one, or does it try to focus on that guy's story and tell that?
I'll tell you something. All the movies, all the Palestinian movies that were made on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, it's always like this. Israel blames the Palestinian director that it's very pro-Palestinian. Palestinians complain that it's not enough, the reality of the Palestinians. So.
All right, I guess the
no one's never happy.
balance will stay for now. Thank you, Anin.
Thank you, Oded.
Thank you at home for joining us. Please do so again tomorrow.